when you see that really slow car in traffic and you zoom up by them and you're just like, what is wrong with you? And you look at them and they're texting while they're driving and you're like, oh, that's why.
The vehicle was rear-ended because the student was texting while driving, and by the time they saw that traffic was stopped in front of them, it was too late for them to stop.
Each year, 21% of fatal car crashes involving teen drivers were the result of cell phone usage. In 2007, driver distraction contributed to nearly 1,000 crashes involving 16 and 17-year-old drivers. Studies, such as the Virginia Tech Transportation Institute's 100-car naturalistic study, have shown startling facts about teenage drivers.
We did find in the 100-car study that the younger drivers were 4 times more likely to be involved in distraction-related crashes and near crashes than any other age group.
There's no bigger distraction than people on a cell phone or people texting and driving.
There is certainly a use for this cell phone technology that is central to many teenagers' lives.
As a parent of teenagers, I also appreciate the fact that they have the ability to call me, hopefully pull over, and call me if they have any problems.
People are relying on them more and more.
Cell phones are a really important invention. I mean, my parents don't like me driving anywhere without it, but that doesn't mean I should use it while I'm driving.
Many states have bans against drivers under the age of 18 using cell phones while driving. As a method of ensuring that all states pass laws to protect teenage drivers, the federal bill Safe Teen and Novice Driver Uniform Protection Act, also called the Stand-Up Act, was introduced in the House of Representatives in April 2009.
The Stand-Up Act would also limit texting while driving. It created a graduated 3-stage licensing process that goes from learner's permit to intermediate stage to full. At the learner's permit and intermediate stages, of course, it would prohibit all use of cell phones and communications devices except in the case of an emergency.
Though we are immersed in this serious problem, there are many different opinions on how and where changes should and must be made.
It's awful to see in the newspaper nearly daily the tragedy of the young teenagers that have accidents because they were texting while driving. So I think that's a very unfortunate distraction that people need to take notice of.
There's no way you can text and drive. To me, it's impossible. That should absolutely not be allowed.
A complete ban on the use of wireless devices is not a good idea.
The government can and should play a role.
Technology is one way the problem can be reduced. The federal government is working with companies such as Best Buy to develop and market technology such as hands-free devices and programs that prevent drivers from receiving or sending text messages while in the car.
A complete ban would reduce auto manufacturers' abilities to develop systems that make it or enable drivers to engage in their wireless device or using their wireless devices in a safe manner.
Technology is going to catch up with our needs. I firmly believe that.
We really believe that technology is probably going to be the answer to keeping drivers much safer.
Local governments have used their access to young drivers through high schools to make teens more aware of the dangers associated with texting while driving. State-regulated driver education classes and posters targeting young adults help achieve this.
Laws are important, but these education efforts are equally important.
Well, as you probably noticed around your high school, outside of this office, outside of the main office and in the counseling centers, there are posters that have been made up by the police department's traffic safety unit that outline the laws regarding texting while driving. So there's sort of a educational campaign underway.
I've seen a lot of different posters around, like, are you intoxicated, or OMG, put down your phone.
As texting is becoming an increasingly more important part of American culture, it has also posed a greater distraction to drivers. One key element of accident prevention the government has realized is changing the social acceptance of distracted driving, much as was done with drinking and driving without a seatbelt.
There's exponential growth in texting while driving, not only for teenagers, but for all age groups.
What motivates teenagers? I don't know.
Texting while driving is a choice.
I think the government needs to realize the effect that legislation can have on the problem with teens texting while driving. I'm not sure legislation will go far enough. I think that it needs to be a social norm where teens just don't text while they're driving.
As legislation brings about educational, technological, and social changes that prevent texting while driving, Teenagers will further understand their privilege and also gain insight into how Washington has affected their responsibilities and limits as drivers.